All right. So I'm very excited for this week because we're going to see some good fights. And Sebastian Fundora versus Sue, that's going to be a great fight. But this fight is going to be really good as well. And that's Daniel Dubois versus Oleksander Usyk. Now, this is a fight that was pretty controversial. If you look at the first fight and the first meeting they had, I thought, in my opinion, that Anthony Dubois put him down, and it was a legal punch in the bell line that pretty much took the wind out of Oleksander Usyk. Oleksander Usyk looked like he did not want, like, Oleksander Usyk looked like he pretty much gave up when Daniel Dubois hit him right in the middle of the bread basket. Okay. And the problem with that fight is that it wasn't just one shot that got him. Every single time Dubois landed a shot in the body of Usyk, he was complaining to the ref. Like, hey, look. But many of those punches that Dubois was landing were actually hitting perfectly, landing perfectly in Usyk's body, but he kept complaining. Now, in my opinion, I thought that was a robbery because this fight was in Poland, and that's close to Ukraine, and I thought they almost had an agenda to make Oleksander Usyk win that fight. So, if you look at it from a real perspective, I thought that Dubois should have won that fight. I thought it was a robbery. And I think that to some extent, people wanted to see Tyson Fury versus Oleksander Usyk. So I think that was, in my opinion, that was part of the problem. But whatever it is, Daniel Dubois is coming with a good streak right now. He is a boxer who has a good KO ratio. He's had 22 fights, and he's literally knocked out. Actually, he's really had 24 fights, but he's knocked out 21 opponents. He does have 2 draws. And if you look into the fight, you're going to see that he literally had a steady KO ratio till he hit Oleksander Usyk, which he technically should have KO'd or TKO'd, whatever you want to call that. But I mean, they gave Oleksander Usyk so much time that it was literally like, yeah, just take your time and just take a nap and just wake up and fight again, right? Like, just recover at the best of your capabilities. Anyway, but after he fought Oleksander Usyk, he fought Jared Miller, he fought Filip Hobik, and he also fought Anthony Joshua. Okay, now with Jared Miller, Baby Miller, and Filip Hobik was considered a dangerous prospect. I never, or a dangerous fighter, let me put it that way. I never really liked Jared Miller. I think he's a clown, but he beat Jared Miller, Filip Hobik, and then he fought Anthony Joshua, and literally he wiped the 3 of them out the window. So he literally got 2 TKOs and a KO with Anthony Joshua. So that shows that the man has proven power, because there's certain boxers that move up, or at least they're in like prospects, and they have a certain KO ratio when they fight like boxers that are like mediocre. But then when the real competition shows up, or let's put it this way, when the level of opposition goes up, the level of TKOs and KOs actually goes down. And that's technically what we saw. That's technically what I've seen with other boxers, like, for example, Subriel Matias or Gary Antoine Russell. Like, when the level of opposition went up, their levels of their KO level went down, right? Their power is not there because elite fighters prepare a different way. So Daniel Dubois does have elite power because he's demonstrated it with dangerous prospects and just dangerous fighters in general, right? Now, in the case of Oleksander Usyk, obviously, he is a dog. He's probably the best pound for pound fighter right now in the sport, and you got to give him a lot of credit because he did the same thing that Evander Holyfield did in his time, and that's to become undisputed in cruiserweight and also heavyweight, and he deserves a lot of credit for that because he is one of those boxers who is not fake. For example, I was never a big fan of Vasily Lomachenko, but in certain divisions he was a dog. But then when he moved up to lightweight, he started to duck and not take some fights, and I didn't like that. But Oleksander Usyk is not that type of fighter. He is never really given. He was never really given the name of Lomachenko, but in my opinion, he was always a better fighter than Lomachenko, and they weren't hyping him up as much till they had no reason why not to hype him up at one point, right? Oleksander Usyk is a dog, and when he fought Tyson Fury, that was literally the hallmark in his heavyweight campaign, because I thought Tyson Fury was going to beat him. I thought he was going to outbox him. I thought that Tyson Fury had the ring IQ to pretty much control distance and just not let Oleksander Usyk cut the ring and basically close off his angles. And as an American, I really appreciate a boxer who knows how to use his jab, move around, and not allow the other fighter to come on to just cut the ring. And I feel like Tyson Fury did a lot of things that were just he lacked in a lot of departments in that fight. Like, for example, he's a Kronk fighter. So one of the things you learn from Sugar Hill or from the Emmanuel Stewart is to put your body in, like you literally grab the opponent, right? You clinch him, not grab, it's clinch. You clinch him and then you put your weight in him, right? And I felt like Tyson Fury, like, even though he was boxing him, when he was at close distance, he wasn't using his clinching technique as much to use it for his advantage, right? And I think that cost him to some extent the fight. But to be honest with you, Oleksander Usyk knows how to cut the ring very well. He is like Derevchenko or Lomachenko or like Alexander Besputin, which was a fighter that was in the welterweight division. They all kind of fight the same. They just like to move around and cut angles, and they little by little just cut you, right? And then they start throwing their punches. And he did what he had to do. And yeah, the first fight was a close fight. And the second fight, I think that it wasn't a close fight. Now there was some controversy with in the round number 9 when he almost put Tyson Fury down. I mean, it was really they ruled it down, but the ref almost let him like survive. But either way, there was some controversy with that. But listen, Oleksander is a phenomenal fighter. He is very smart, and to do what he did against Tyson Fury really just shows that he is a dog, right? Now, what are the keys to this fight? Because Daniel Dubois, after defeating 3 different difficult opponents, he's going to have some sort of he's going to have some adjustments in this fight that he didn't do in the first fight. But to be fair, I thought he won the fight because he landed good. I mean, he if you would have counted the body punches and it would have been a fair ref, I think he would have won the fight. But now I think Oleksander Usyk is going to look at the first fight and is going to be like, well, he's going to try to attack my body, right? Because that's one of the things that we kind of realize with Oleksander Usyk. He doesn't like getting hit in the body. Like, for example, Keith Thurman was a great counterpuncher, but he never liked to get hit on the body, right? So when Collazo hit him in the body, he was literally going backwards. When Sean Porter hit him on the body, he was going backwards, right? Because some people just, they don't have a lot of resistance in their body. So Oleksander Usyk knows that Anthony Dubois is going to try to break his body, okay? And that's probably what's like, the idea is to break down his opponent so he doesn't cut the ring as well, right? So I believe that Anthony Joshua, in the start of the fight, he's going to go and he's going to try to use his jab, right? But he's going to target the body. Okay, normally Oleksander Usyk, being the smaller fighter, would try to target the body of Daniel Dubois. But in this case, I think Dubois will use his jab and try to hit Usyk in the body and invest in the body. Something that we saw with Devin Haney and Vasyl Lomachenko. I really believe that Devin Haney won that fight. He beat Vasyl Lomachenko because if you look at the fight, he was investing a lot in the body in the early rounds, and that kind of tired Vasyl Lomachenko. If you look at the 12th round, he looked like he was gassed out. I believe that in this case, Dubois is going to target. I definitely believe he's going to target the body. He's going to have to, because he's not going to outbox Oleksander Usyk. I believe as a boxer, Fury was a better boxer than Dubois. But the problem is that Dubois has punching power, and that's not something that Fury possessed. So in this case, he's definitely not going to outbox Oleksander Usyk, because Oleksander Usyk knows how to cut the ring and knows how to move. So it's going to be very difficult for Dubois to counter Usyk and not get hit, okay? Because he does have a decent defense, but I don't think his defense is as good as Oleksander, as Tyson Fury's, okay? So I believe that if Dubois does not start hitting the body in the early rounds, which once again, it should be backwards. It should be Usyk, who's a smaller fighter, trying to break down the body of Dubois. I think that Usyk will find a way to cut the ring and make Dubois pay for his mistakes. Because yes, it's true that Dubois did beat Jared Miller. He also, he pretty much TKO'd him. He did beat Filip Hrgovic, and he beat Anthony Joshua. But none of those boxers is a pound for pound fighter, and definitely not considered the best pound for pound fighter right now. You're going to argue that it's Terence Crawford, now Yune. That's up to you. I definitely don't believe it's Canelo Alvarez. He's a coward. But it's between those three, right? But they're all good. So in my opinion, I think that that's the key, to target the body of Usyk. Now, if he doesn't do that, I think Usyk will probably have a better read, because he already has experience, especially with his first fight. He knows what Dubois is all about. He knows how he counters. So he will have an easier task defeating Dubois. But if Dubois actually uses his body mass and tries to force Usyk to fight backwards and starts just throwing shots, right? Like Underwood, when Underwood threw shots, he a lot of times he got in, he threw the jab, and then he got inside and hit, he literally uppercut the body. If he does that, I think that's actually gonna make Usyk he's gonna be hurt, because I don't think he has good body resistance. I just don't think he has. And if he gasses out and in 6 rounds with heavy blows to the body, I think he won't be able to counter as well, and he definitely won't be able to, cut the ring as well, right? Because we have seen that he can gas out if you hit him in the body, which is something that Tyson Fury didn't do as much, because also he doesn't have the power. It's not much you can do about that. But I do believe that he definitely, if he invests in the body, he'll win. Now, what do I think about this fight and how it's going to end? Well, I mean, to be honest, Usyk is just overall better than Anthony Dubois, but overall better doesn't mean he's going to win the fight. So I think Usyk will definitely be the favorite to beat Anthony Dubois. And if Daniel Dubois, and if he doesn't actually, if Dubois does not have a good game plan, he doesn't use the clinch and other things that will make Usyk play a dirty game, because Usyk doesn't like to play dirty games. He outboxes you, but when you play dirty and you use dirty tactics, he doesn't like that. And many of the new school fighters, they don't know how to play dirty, like Bernard Hopkins or like Evander Holyfield. Like Evander Holyfield would have played a different tactical fight, a different sort of tactical fight with for example, Usyk. He would have done the rough tactics to basically set him off his game. So I don't know that Dubois can do that. So I think that Usyk should win this fight and maybe possibly stop Dubois. Now, me personally, if Usyk wins this fight or Dubois wins this fight, either or, I think that, well, what I want to see is the winner face Joseph Parker. And I believe Joseph Parker, just because of his style, is a better matchup for it's a great matchup for Usyk, because he has a fast jab. He's improved a lot as a boxer, and he is a better boxer in my opinion than Dubois. And he does have power, has fast hands, but I think stylistically, I think that will be a great fight with Usyk, with Usyk, and I think he could actually beat him. But Dubois, does have the power, but I don't know if he will be able to land those shots. I don't know if he will use rough tactics, and I don't know if he'll try to outbox him, because he might have that. He might have that PTSD from getting knocked out. He might have that in his mind. He might have that. So it's not easy to recover. He did well, like I said. He won his last 3 fights and did it in good fashion, right? But Usyk is a different dog, and that's a little bit of the problem that we're facing here. He's not just facing like an average fighter. He's facing Oleksander Usyk, and that's a different ball game altogether. So I think Usyk should win this fight, but I will be rooting for Dubois in this fight for sure. No question. All right, so let me see here real quick. See here real quick. So we'll see what happens. But what do y'all think? Y'all think that Dubois is going to beat Oleksander Usyk? You think he's going to target the body? What do you think he's going to do? Because it's going to be interesting. Like I said, it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a really good fight. So we'll see what happens. All right. So anyway, that's my prediction for the fight. If you agree, y'all can put it in the comment sections. And just become part of Golden Era Boxing, and subscribe and follow me in X as well, where we try to make the best fights happen here. And that's what we're here for, to make the best fights happen. So we'll see what happens. But I got money in Dubois, but I think Oleksander Usyk might win this fight. All right, peace up, give us a like, and I'll see you in the next live.